What do you think can be done to make sure students communicate better with their parents, have a healthy relationship with their parents, has a great understanding? Parents ওই মেন্টালিটিতে আস্তে আস্তে আগাইতে পারে। What do you think could be done?
If you're a student, you have zero power and I have 100% of the power. That's where things are going wrong. Studentরা তো বেয়াদবি করবে, ওটা তো ওদের বয়সী। You're not disrespecting me. It's totally okay. You can smoke. You know, in A-levels, there was a haircut which was very popular, spiky. He woke me up at 2 a.m. and he thrashed me left and right. Be open. I was very open to my mother. Here, what we do is, bola jabe na, kora jabe na. You know, teachers and students should sit down and talk about what's good, what's bad. There is this student-teacher relationship dynamics, okay? Culturally in Bangladesh, what happens, if you're a student, you have zero power and I have 100% of the power. That's where things are going wrong. So the power needs to be distributed equally. You should have 50% power, I should have 50% power in the classroom or in the learning spaces. So what it does is that I am treating you as an individual, as an adult. So you have a say in everything. So my students can tell me anything that they want, irrespective of what I am. Okay? And that builds a very cordial relationship. But in Bangladesh, you know, what teachers does is, okay, how can we embarrass the students? How can we put them down? How can we scold them in front of everyone?
They feel like it's working, but I think in reality it's not.
It demolishes your confidence, right? Okay, so you really need to, you know, treat them like adults. I'll tell you a story. I think we were doing a photo shoot for Faces of FES campaign 4-5 months back. Riaz Bhai was here. And one of the student, I think, was having problem and she texted on WhatsApp and she was very rude. And I did not say anything because studentরা তো বেয়াদবি করবে, ওটা তো ওদের বয়সী। She's just 17, 18, 19 probably, okay? So there's no point in scolding.
Was it regarding the photo shoot?
No, she did not want to come. I wasn't forcing her. But then, you know, she was trying to say something and probably that came out very rude. And I did not say anything at all. I just said one thing that if I were you, I wouldn't have said that. Just one line. It's there in my WhatsApp chat. And then the student thought I was going to scold her the next day. And when she came in, I forgot about it. And we never spoke about it. And then she told to one of her TAs that, you know, sir didn't even speak about the incident. And our TAs was like, yeah, we don't focus on these things. We focus on positivity. It's your opinion and we value your opinion. So I think teachers need to value everyone's opinion. And you can learn so much from students, right? From young people. Because at FES, we have a very young team and a lot of students work for us, right? In the marketing department. Tosif is just 20 years old. Arafat probably, you know, 26, 27. A new guy is joining in. He's also very young. So Gen Z or the young generation do not like, you know, these traits, you know, embarrassing and, you know, calling out names and kota dawa, talking about family. I think these are things of the past. These are from the dinosaur era that we need to get rid of and think about, you know, how we could deal with them more respectfully. So it was an eye-opener when I went abroad. And I was amazed to see how teachers, they respect you. Because, you know, I'll tell you an incident. I was smoking in in our campus. And one of our professor saw me and I was trying to hide the cigarette. And he came towards me, he said, you're not disrespecting me. It's totally okay. You can smoke. And it's out of the classroom and it's your right. But look, see, this is not good for your health. Now, if you think that my advice is valuable, you'll take it, otherwise you will not. And it really opened my, you know, eyes and how to behave.
Approach. Like in an approach like this, your teacher or like your professor, she got a discourse, I think, which are notable. Like, address the situation. but address it with respect where the person doesn't feel like a victim. Like, let's say that was you. So you didn't feel like you were a victim, you didn't feel like you were being scolded on. All you felt like was he was addressing the situation in a respectful manner. যে you can do it, তোমার ইচ্ছা, but আমার মনে হয় যে স্বাস্থ্যের জন্য ঠিক। That's how it should be. আমাদের কি হচ্ছে? তোমার আমাকে আমি কল দিতেছি, মানে দিস টাইপ অফ থিংস এক হচ্ছে যে ইট রুইনস একটা স্টুডেন্টস এক্সপেকটেশন। হয় কি পরে এই স্টুডেন্টগুলো আরো বেশি ব্যাধ হয়ে যাচ্ছে অ্যান্ড লেটার অন ডাউন দ্য লাইন এটাকে আর কন্ট্রোল রাখা যাচ্ছে না। বিকজ হাউ মেনি টাইমস ক্যান ইউ কল দেয়ার প্যারেন্টস?
Right.
একটা পয়েন্ট একটা চাইল্ড গ্রোজ আপ, দে কাম আউট অফ দেয়ার প্যারেন্টস গাইডেন্স এন্ড মানে এই ফ্রিডমটা একটা চলে আসে বাই দ্য টাইম লাইক
I think after 15-16 you're pretty much independent, right?
তখন ওই তোমার আম্মুকে কল দেবে কতদিন কাজ করে, and তখন what do you have apart from like I feel like abuse and violence, মানে তখন তো মাইন্ড ছাড়া আর কিছু নাই।
And you can't do that with a kid who's grown up so much, right? Now, also, you tell me, I've seen teachers and parents picking on students or their children regarding haircut, regarding clothes. Are they necessary to educate our children? Do they have anything to do with education? Because, last night I was conversing with some of our students, and some of the girls, they were complaining about it. They pick us on our clothes and they talk about how we look, they talk about our hairstyle. And I had a similar situation with my dad. Back in the days, in A-levels, there was a haircut which was very popular, spiky. So I cut my hair really short, and some of the hairs in the front, they were standing. And I remember he came home very late and he saw I was sleeping, but he saw me that, I had that haircut. He woke me up at 2 a.m. and he thrashed me left and right. And my mom was so angry. My mom was pissed. And she was like, he's such a brilliant student. He's always come first. He made us proud. But what does haircut has to do with his education? This is just I still remember my mom pointing out that it's just a phase. You're growing up. I was 16. I'm going to be a bit gothic or rebellious.
What do you think can be done to make sure students communicate better with their parents, have a healthy relationship with their parents, has a great understanding? Parents ওই মেন্টালিটিতে আস্তে আস্তে আগাইতে পারে, মানে what do you think could be done?
Be open. I was very open to my mother, okay? And
Were you a mama's boy?
At one point, yeah. But I always spoke the truth.
Yeah.
She knew what I was doing when I had my first cigarette or my first night out or other embarrassing things. But I also think that these are important part of growing up. You should go for a night out. You should do things that are good and bad both, just to learn. You just can't ask a child or ask a student just to do the good things.
Yeah.
You need to know what failure is or what are the evils of the society so that you understand what it takes. But my advice would be just be open with your parents, okay? Because if you can gain their trust, they will trust you more. And this is why my mother never forced me to do something or never stopped me in doing anything, okay? She was like, okay, you want to go to UK? Fine. You want to go to your friend's house? Fine. Ki korba. And I used to tell her, okay, these are the plan. My phone is switched on. You can call me anytime. Or my mother knew that, I used to chill out with my friends. We used to live in Dhanmondi, and there was a spot where we used to, chill out. And she knew the spot and she knew what we were doing because I told her. Right? And it became so easy. Very, very easy.
It becomes easy. Yeah.
And it becomes easy. There's transparency. And my mom knows my limitation. And I also know my mother's, instinct. I know where not to piss her off. Right?
Yeah.
So you need to hit the right buttons, I think. Being open, being honest will take you a long way. And I have seen some of my students, I've seen some of my family relatives. I've seen my wife having great equation with her parents, and she's also very open and friendly with them, and how that has taken her to a new level. Here, what we do is bola jabe na, kora jabe na. I think that's the blockage that you're creating in front of you.
Yeah, because let's say if
are you open with your mom?
I am somewhat. So let's say somewhat because I think certain জায়গায় I think my mom wouldn't understand what I mean. For example,
Okay.
কাজের সময় যদি আমি কোনো risky কাজ করে থাকি, let's say sometimes we're dealing in figures which are not something that someone of my age should do. It's risky, like affiliating yourself with political people in certain deals is also risky.
Of course.
So these are things sometimes I have to gatekeep from my mom. So regarding certain things, so oita ase. But emne majority jinish na I'm very truthful and honest.
But this also varies, it varies from
Parent to parent.
different background of students, because you have upper class, you have middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, okay? And they all behave very differently in Bangladesh. And again, they behave differently in the Western countries. So it's quite interesting. So we won't go depth into that, because it's a lot to talk about. But yeah, it depends on the demographic and the background.